He said history is basically up to the victors. The people who write history, and you think about this, whānau, when you write history, it's an act of power. Who wrote this? And whose version of the events that happened here is captured here?
We've all come together to start looking at the New Zealand wars. They crossed the Mangatawhini stream, which essentially meant that they invaded the Waikato. Back in 1863, Governor Grey had heard that these Waikato Māori were going to attack Auckland. It was a lie.
Rumour.
2 days they were given in order to swear allegiance. They didn't. The invasion started. And so we're going to walk this land. We're going to make our way further on down Rangiaowhia Road, and then we're going to tell you some more stories as we're going along. And then you're going to see what's happened here.
So we are going to just take our time down towards the church, just down here at the St. Paul's Anglican Church. I want you to remember safety. We're on the road. Just enjoy our time together as we toddle off down that way.
You can't not talk about kingitanga when you come to Rangiaowhia. You can't. You can't talk about Rangiriri, Mere, Pāterangi, Waiari, Rangiaowhia, Ōrākau, Pukehina, Te Ranga, Te Kaukaroa and Te Tarata. You can't talk about those places if you don't talk about kingitanga. I want you to imagine a grove of peach trees here. Close your eyes and imagine. I want you to imagine cornfields and wheat and orchards full of ripe, succulent fruit. I want you to imagine. You can hear General von Temsky saying, "Fire!" I want you to imagine your koro running out with a white blanket as a sign of peace. Bang! I want you to imagine that they shot him. So when you go home, when the hikoi finishes today and you go home, you got a big job. Because we've got to keep the kōrero going. It's so important. Because this is a huge part of our history and makes up who we are as Māori today, as New Zealanders, as Kiwi.
Welcome to Ōrākau. What you're going to hear today is actually from the stories from the kōrero of those who fought here. And so you're going to hear our story. This is our history. This is our truth.
It was a new land, it was a new time. The Treaty of Waitangi had been signed. Ko tiro rātou whakamua. They were looking forwards to the time all the pakanga, all the fighting of the past was behind them. And this new world was taking them forwards. They knew the pain, they knew the anguish that our people went through just over the hill there. They knew what happened, but they still decided to stay. The battle went for 3 days. They ran out of water. They ran out of kai to eat. The babies inside were starving. But when you're in war, you're in war. And when you're fighting for your kids, I think you do anything.
Often it breaks my heart when I stand here. The problem with us not talking about places like Ōrākau is that then it becomes easy to forget. I think about if we don't tell the story, then how are you going to know? And so what I'm going to give you today is not found in any history book. It's passed on from generation to generation.
When we started in 2005, our first haka was about Ōrākau. And we've always had something in our brackets about remembering ngā riri whenua.
He took his tokotoko and said, "Me mate au ki konei." Let me die here on the lands.
I used to ask my grandmother, why don't we talk about this? Oh, her Riri ia, because I was talking about her great-grandmother. And she used to say, "You don't know, you don't understand the pain."
My grandmother that brought me up, she was only 15-year-old. And they used her to get the water from the Puni River.
The Pa was attacked 3 times. Every time the British attacked Ōrākau Pa, they were repulsed, they were pushed back.
What's apparent is that the reason for the road, the hararu o ngā motoka, is to diminish our mana motuhake Māori.
That we'll give them a chance to get out, to give up. The reply was, friend, we will fight you forever. Ka whawhai tonu mātou. Ake.
Now if you think about it, the battle that took place where women and children were killed, it burnt a memory on the minds and the hearts of our people.
How fitting your hikoi has been to come from where you've just come from and come here to Pukehinahina. Why did this battle happen? He said, put your lands under me, under the king, and they'll never take it. Wiremu Kariwha said to Kawiti, you can't keep slaves and reading your paipara tapu. Release them. Whatever you do, if the guns are any bigger than what you think they are, then you must go deeper. So they had 1,700 men. They were the crack troops of the British forces. They were the best in the world at that time, and they were the most equipped. They had just come out of the Crimea. They beat everyone in the world at that time. They went into India and Ireland, and they were just cleaning up all over the world until they came here to New Zealand. Te Wano, he was doing the karakia. Once he had got halfway through, the shots had come over and blew him in half. Carry out your works, carry out your works. Because when you come here, my trenches will be blocked by your dead. And told Cameron, General, they're all dead, or they're all gone. Just as he said that, the whole pa erupted. 240 guns, they all fired at the one time. They asked him this and they asked him that, and he's forever saying, everything he blames himself. If I had done this, it would have been different. Not once did he attribute anything to these natives. The king was just an excuse to the British to take land. It was just an excuse. And we all paid for it. After the Battle of Gate Pa, the British troops were hungry to square the score. The only escape route they had was either side, and either side, if you go and have a look, there's about a 100-foot drop. I think everyone just wanted to get the fight over and done with. They knew that they couldn't let us dig in because it's hard to get them out. The dirt was black as it was being thrown out. Then they started to change colour to the brown. And then he realised that they were getting too deep. So he said to his men, we better attack. So the first shots came over from the big gun. Then Greer says, take the pa. So the British troops started walking forward and they started to shoot. Because we had no guns here, eh? We had no guns here. The whole 100 stand up out of these trenches. There was only to my hip. They stood up and they started to walk. You could tell we were an overwhelming force. Why didn't you stop? And this is what he says, me matea hau mo te whenua. And he died. The leaders, Lauri Pūtake, died here. And Henare Tarato, he died here. He's the one from Araukawa, ki te Tonga. That was that was pretty much it for the Battle of Tauranga. Tauranga was dividing and dividing well. Grey had started to divide us. Our battle never finished here. You had those ones that were still living in the 50,000. They were dissenting what was going down. And that's where we end up with the third battle in Tauranga, the Bush campaign. Fighting had finished, but 1867 was still going here in Tauranga. That's our history. We got to live with it, and we got to live among each other. It's not easy. We're slowly getting there, as you probably hear in my voice. It's not over, but we're slowly getting there. This generation will help us heal that past, but it's hard to forget, eh? It's hard to forget. So that's why when I stand before you, I speak to you with passion, because it happened to my people and everyone else in Tauranga.